Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Now, February is British National Heart Month, so I thought I'd take a recipe and create a beautiful dish that has got that in mind. We're going to use some lovely fresh halibut that I've bought from my local fishmonger. We're going to put a California walnut crumb on the top, and we're going to serve it with a Florida grapefruit, fennel and chili salsa. It is going to be delicious. So we're going to cook a beautiful piece of fresh halibut. Now, this morning I went into Cockermouth, the town. I went to Fine Fish, lovely fishmongers, spoke to the girls there, had a look at what fish was good, what prices were like, and actually I went in thinking I might buy one type of fish, and I came out buying an even better piece of fish. I bought some halibut. Now, halibut is normally really expensive, but depending on market prices and all that kind of stuff, will depend on the price. So I actually got this halibut, and look at this piece, Emily. Isn't it lovely, eh? That's a proper piece of fish, that. And if you sometimes if you sort of think, well, actually, if I'm going to buy a steak or a piece of meat or, you know, something like that, actually, you can get some amazing fresh fish. So what I would urge you to do is go down and talk to your fishmonger, ask them the price of things and make a decision based on that and go, well, actually, because I looked at hake, and by the time I'd trimmed up the hake and done all that and paid for all the trimmings, I might as well have just got something that didn't warrant any wastage at all. This is just one big lovely piece. And honestly, you could serve, this will serve 4, and you could cook it whole if you wanted to, just straight in the oven. Salt, pepper, put the crumb on that I'm going to show you in a minute and just whack it in the oven. But I'm going to cook mine in the pan today, and I'm going to cut it into portions. So what I'm going to do is just do that. So I'm going to cut it into 3, and I'm going to cook one of them for the show, and then we will do the others later. Have you had halibut before, Emily?
I don't think I have, actually.
It's a beautiful piece of fish. It is lovely, and it is just all fish. And the thing with fishmongers is what the fishermen catch is what the fishmongers stock, not they don't just order what they want and it turns up. So you never quite know what you're going to get. And I think that's a lovely way to shop if you can. So I got a much better fish than I thought I was going to get, really. So I didn't think I was going to get halibut, which is lovely. So a nice little treat. Right, get my non-stick pan on. So I've got an induction hob here. We're going to get this non-stick pan nice and hot, get the cooking, and we're going to finish it in the oven, okay? So, first of all, we need to dry this fish off. Now, when you are cooking fish, obviously it sits on ice in the fishmongers, or, you know, and if you want to fry something, you want it to be dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit it in some kitchen roll and just try and absorb any of the surface moisture. So just sort of roll it around, dab it about a bit, get that moisture off. And that means I'll be able to get it nice and crispy. Because I want the pan to get hot. I don't want to add any oil to that. I'm going to add oil to the pan, to the fish, sorry. So a little bit of oil on there, and then we'll just pick it up. And because this is super fresh, it doesn't smell of fish. It smells of sea water. It smells of the sea. And that's how you know fish is really, really fresh. So if you do live in Cumbria and you're watching, go visit Fine Fish in Cockermouth. You can also go to Cranston's at Penrith. They have a fishmongers there. It's the same. And you can get some really, really good stuff there. Okay, right, let's season this up. So a little bit of salt, and that will help get us a nice crisp texture. It'll draw the moisture out. And then some black pepper, that'll just give it some nice warmth. And then I've done this on a plate. I'm just going to roll it round. Now, I've bought halibut today. You could use many other fish, for example. You could use hake, you could use cod loin, you could use salmon, you could use, what else could you? I'm trying to think of some international fish because I know we have a very international audience. What else could you use?
It needs to be like a thick meat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does, but you don't want it to be too oily. I sort of veered away from salmon and trout because I think it's going to be too oily for the walnuts.
Yeah.
It wants to be a nice, clean, monkfish would be nice. Halibut, obviously, we've got here, hake, cod, you know, a thick fillet of bass if you're over in America. I know that you get really nice big fillets over there. So, yeah, just go for a nice, thick, meaty, white piece of fish that is sort of regional to you or local to you. So, pan's nice and hot. Let's get that in. I'm going to go skin side down. Now, I've got my hob on 8. I'm going to turn it down to 6 and let it just do its thing. Okay? So if you've got any questions at all, please do post them in the comments below. I am here to help, okay? So please, there's no such thing as a silly question, is there, Emily?
Absolutely not.
No. Exactly. Right.
Is this cooking method for all types of like fish if you to cook it in the pan?
You don't need to. You could put it in the oven, and like I said, with that big piece of fish, if you're serving like a family of 4, sometimes fish cooks nicer as a sort of a big piece. It doesn't dry out as quickly, and you could just pop it all in the oven if you wanted to. But when we're doing a program, it's quite nice to see it happening, see it cooking. So I thought I'll cook it in the pan today, and then you get to see how to cook fish in a pan as well as in the oven if you want to. So I'm just going to lift it up and just have a little look and see what's going on. So you can kind of see straight away that's crisping up nicely. I'm just going to add a touch more oil to this. There we go, and let that cook. Now, let's make the crumb that's going to go on the top, okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some California walnuts. Now, this whole recipe was inspired by the National Heart Month, was that?
Yeah.
Yeah? National Heart Month. So it's all about like heart health. And I wanted to work with 2 companies, California Walnuts and Florida Grapefruits. 2 products that help contribute to really good heart health. Okay, so California Walnuts are the healthiest nut out there. So out of all nuts, they are the richest in omega-3 oils, which is one that's really good for you. Now, we've done lots of work with California walnuts over the past year, so we know quite a lot about walnuts now, don't we? And we nibble them because we have a big box of them down there, and they are very, very popular in this kitchen for snacking on. And I must say, California walnuts, they are the nicest. They have a lovely sort of creamy crunch to them. And they're incredibly versatile and good for you. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop these walnuts up. Okay, you could pop them in the food processor if you wanted to. And we're trying to make like a nice crumb to go on the top of the fish when it goes in the oven. Okay, so a nice chop. And then we're going to pop those onto a plate. Let me just move those onto there. Okay, is that all right, back all right there, Emily? If I put it in the right place?
Yep.
Good, right. Little pinch of salt, pinch of pepper, get that mixed together. And then I've got some Panko breadcrumbs. So any breadcrumbs you like will be fine. I just happen to have the Panko, the really dry ones, which is good. So if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom, and it will take you to petersidwell.com. You will find all my recipes there. But if you also want to scan this next QR code, that will take you to California Walnuts website and also Florida Grapefruit, and you'll get all the recipes there and more recipes. Okay? So we're working in partnership on this episode with both Florida Grapefruit and California Walnuts because it kind of helps contribute towards that good heart health. And that's very sort of in the news at the moment, and February is the month where they really try and promote awareness of it. So I thought it would fit in well. So I've got some lemon thyme here. I'm just going to pop that in with the nuts. You can make more of this crumb as well if you want, and it'll keep in an airtight container, or you can pop it in the freezer if you want, and it'll work really well. So just to sort of get this to stick to the fish, tablespoon of olive oil. You could use rapeseed oil as well if you wanted to. Butter would be amazing, but we're trying to reduce that saturated fat in this recipe, so we're not putting butter in it. Okay, that is ready. I'll put that to one side, then we'll get on with our salsa. Right, I've just had a quick wipe down, clean chopping board, and then we're ready to go. I've got some more of that lemon thyme. I've just grabbed it from the garden. That's going to go lovely in there. So we're going to make our salsa, okay? So got a glass bowl so you can see everything that's going on. Can I put that there, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay? I'll check with the boss. Okay, so first of all, fennel. It's really, really good with fish. That sort of nice aniseed flavour works really well. So I actually think fennel is nicer raw than cooked. I think it's got that nice, clean, crisp crunch with that sort of subtle aniseed flavour. It's not too in your face. So you just cut it down the middle, and then I've cut the core out, the little heart in the middle there, because that doesn't really render very well. And then we're just going to chop it a bit like an onion. So we're going to chop it one way, and then we'll cut in horizontally, and then group it together, and then just run your knife through. So I've got my 20 centimetre cook's knife. This is the kind of job you want because you want to roll it through, okay? You want a decent sized knife. Any of the trimmings, just chuck in there with the fish, because that will do no harm at all. Okay, same again, cut in horizontally. You could blitz this in a little food processor if you wanted to, but don't do it too small. You want it, just pulse it maybe, rather than blitz it, otherwise you'll end up with a mush. There we go, let's add that in. So, let's get our fennel into the bowl. We're quiet this morning, Emily. Have you got any questions lined up for me at all?
Possibly. Have to wait and see.
Oh, she's timing them well.
You stole my question about the fish before. So.
Did I steal it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I knew I had, to be honest, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
Right, red onion. Only half a red onion. Otherwise, it's going to get too strong in onion flavour. So I'm just going to chop that nice and thin. You could use a shallot if you wanted. I've just stolen your question again. Or spring onions or scallions. I wouldn't use white onion, it's too strong. But shallots are a little milder. And spring onions or scallions or green onions are nice and mild.
How long will the salsa last for in the fridge?
2 days before you lose its kind of fresh, crisp crunch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it starts to sort of get a bit sad. So don't add too much.
Yeah.
Don't make too much unless you're going to go it. But this salsa will work with lots of other things as well. It'd be amazing with a bit of leftover chicken. It would good, a bit of halloumi cheese maybe. Obviously fish. You could stuff this inside a sea bass, bake it whole. You could serve it up with some leftover cooked meats. It'd be really good. Like if you've got a roast chicken and you've got the legs left, which I often do in my house. Just shred the chicken, stir it through that salsa, put it in a wrap, and you've got an amazing lunchbox the next day for work. Right, Florida grapefruit. So we're going to cut the top off. We're going to cut the bottom off. We see this all right, Emily?
Yes, we can get to the centre of the chopping board a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
So now I've got a nice level playing field. Now, Florida grapefruit, super good for you, packed full of vitamin C, and it just adds this floral, fresh, acidic burst to your food. It's really, really lovely flavour. I mean, you just eat it for breakfast, it'd be delicious, but we wanted to try and work it into some recipes. Grapefruit works really well with things like fennel. Fennel and grapefruit, best friends, they work really well, which is why I sort of chose this combination of flavours for my salsa. And then we're just going to nick all the white off, and I'll show you how to segment it, because I think it's important to know how to prepare a Florida grapefruit, and then you can start to get it into your ingredients. So just hold it in your hand like so, and then just cut on the inside of the pith. So there's a little white membrane. Cut on the inside of it, and then your segments will just fall out easily.
A bit like how you used to segment an orange at school.
Yeah, exactly that. All citrus fruits will segment like this. And once you've got the segments out, we're going to squeeze the remains into our salsa and just kind of get it pickling a little bit and start to break down our fennel and red onion. You know, I would normally pickle in like lemon or lime juice.
Yeah.
It'll do the same.
What else is the Florida grapefruits good for yourself?
In terms of health benefits, so like I said, I mean, masses of vitamin C, which we all know citrus fruit is good for anyway. But it will help contribute towards lowering your blood pressure. So that is a really good thing. And also it contributes towards the reduction of cholesterol in your body. It's not a magic pill that you can just take, but it will all, you know, if you can incorporate Florida grapefruit into your diet, it will help towards reducing that cholesterol. So it's an all-round sort of health benefit, really, if you can get it into your diet. And then by you looking at recipes like this, it will help you incorporate it really easily. But having some for breakfast is kind of the easiest way, isn't it? Just to get it into your diet. But that heart health, I think it all comes into it with reducing cholesterol, reducing blood pressure. That's all got to be a good thing, really, hasn't it? And then you smash in those California walnuts. You've got your omega-3 rich oils. Again, good for the heart. It all helps, doesn't it? And contributes. So this recipe is a real sort of health boost, but packed full of flavour, which is the important thing. Tastes amazing, good for you. What more could you want? So I've just got half here, just going to get the rest out. Right, now we've got our Florida grapefruit into our salsa. Give it a little stir around. We've got the juice in there. Add some red chilli, fresh red chilli. Don't go for dried because you want that fresh fruitiness. I'm just going to put half a red chilli in there. If you don't like any heat or you're like super sensitive to it, don't put it in. It's okay. But if you are going to put it in, put the fresh stuff in. Remove all the seeds. Just cut them into really thin matchsticks. Bundle them back together and then just use your hands to sort of crimp it into a bundle and then just run your knife through. And then you will just get a nice little warmth, a little tickle on your taste buds as you're eating this. Okay? And this sort of acidic salsa and bite will cut through the richness of the California walnut crumb that we're putting on the top. So in with your red onion.
No, your chili?
Oh yeah, red chili. Just testing. Well done, Emily, you're concentrating. It's good. Right, and then we'll do a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, that should be fine. And then I've just got some parsley. Okay, so it's quite young, tender parsley, so I'm going to chop the stalks up the lot. Don't really need...
How do you know if it's young and tender?
Well, it's like really thin little bits, and you know sometimes when we order parsley from the commercial greengrocers, it's big, thick bunches.
Yeah.
This is quite young. This is from the supermarket, so it's quite young and tender. So it doesn't need picking; it just needs chopping up. There we go. So that is our salsa. And then the remaining parsley that I've got here, I'm going to add this to our walnut crumb. Okay, and remember, if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom and it will take you to petersidwell.com and you can get our recipes there, or you can download our free recipe app in the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you will get everything there. You get all the programs, the recipes, the lot. It's a free app, there's no tricks, just download it. You'll get notifications when the next program's coming out. It's just having little Peter Sidwell in your pocket, if that's what you want. You don't like the thought of that, do you, Emily? Does that scare you a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Worming my way into your life. Right, fresh herbs into there. Right. And then just use your fingertips and just bring it together. Okay. So you want that sort of little bit of moisture from the herbs will help it stick. Right, let me just wash my hands. And then we'll have a look at our fish. So I'll get another spoon out. You'll notice the fish has just sat there and I've not touched it, I've not cooked it, I've got it on number 3. So I started it on number 8. Nice high heat, I seared it. So we started to brown it off and you can see the skin's got a nice crisp skin to it. You can eat that, you take it off, it's entirely up to you. But then I've knocked it down to number 3 and I've just left it. I've added the fennel trimmings, the onion and a bit of thyme in there for flavour. And then all I'm going to do is just turn it over. Can you see you get that beautiful caramelisation because we haven't touched it. We haven't messed about with it. And then we're going to take our herb crumb and we're just going to sit it on the top like so. You don't need loads. I've made more than I need because we're going to do some photography later and do some lovely photographs of it. But that is just now going to sit there. And then just to get it kind of crispy on the top, we're just going to add a little oil, not a lot, because it's got natural oils and omega-rich oils from the California walnuts. So it doesn't need much. But you just want to sort of pat it down like that. And then, because I've got it in a metal handled pan, I can whack it straight in the oven. Right, my fish is in the oven. It's going to take about 10 minutes in total. I'm going to use a digital probe. So I always have a couple of these kicking around in my drawer. These are Taylor. So these are from cookserveandenjoy.com. Taylor is a really good brand of scales and thermometers. You get really good accuracy and precision, which is exactly what you want. This one is probably my favorite because it folds away. You whip it out, you can get the temperature. If it's above 70, you know it's going to be cooked. Once it is cooked, we're going to serve it up with this delicious Florida grapefruit salsa with fennel, chili, and parsley. Yeah, I had to think then. It's going to be delicious. Right, fish is cooked. Oh my God, it looks so good. Right, let's pop that there. Let's grab a slice. And because we've used a good non-stick pan, it will come off easily. Right, let's just pop that there for a second. Now, our Florida grapefruit salsa has just sat in the bowl, married up together. All the flavors are working beautifully. It is going to be a lovely sort of crisp, acidic contrast for the fish and the California walnut topping. So we pop that on there like so. And I think since we're going Florida grapefruit, rather than a squeeze of lemon on here, we should go grapefruit. You see that all right, Emily?
A little bit lower. Nice. Yep.
There we go. That is how to make the most delicious, heart, healthy fillet of fish with a California walnut and herb top and a Florida grapefruit salsa. I am definitely trying this. I'm not waiting for them to. I'm going in. Right, let's get a bit of fish, a little bit of grapefruit. Oh man, I'm not sharing this. Right, I've just finished eating my fish. Oh my goodness. It was amazing, so delicious. If you want the recipe for my seared halibut with a California walnut crust and a Florida grapefruit salsa, scan the QR code along the bottom. It will take you to my website. There you go. Or if you want to go to California walnut or Florida grapefruit's website, scan this QR code or go to this website and it will take you there. It's entirely up to you. But there's loads of other recipes on their websites as well. Now, just to finish off the show, my wife's a school teacher and I've just recently started baking. When I've been making a recipe, I've sort of sent it off with Emma for the teachers in the staff room, and they've come back and they've made a few requests that they've got used to it now. So I thought I would make some delicious muffins this week. We're going to make sour cherry, orange and lime muffins. They are absolutely delicious, and here's how I made them. Okay, so that is how you make them. Here they are, the muffins. I'm afraid there is one missing. All right, can you see that, Emily?
Yep, wasn't me.
Mrs. Sidwell has tasted them already and tested them to make sure they're safe. So if you are watching, all teachers, the reason why there's only 11 this week is Emma. Right, so they're baked, we've let them rest. We're going to make a simple glaze, okay? And because they're sweet and they've got those lovely little tart, sour cherries in there, I just wanted to make a little simple glaze. Because I think sometimes with muffins, they're kind of all the same when you eat them, whereas if you glaze them up, just even with the smallest amount of citrus and icing sugar, you just get this lovely sort of tart, crisp top to it. So I'm going lime because I think it'll work best. So obviously we've got the orange blossom in there. If you can't get orange blossom flavouring, use some orange zest, that's absolutely fine. And then I'm just banging in some lime. I always use fresh lime. I never, ever, ever use the bottled stuff. It's just wrong. It's not as fresh, it's not vibrant, it's not what you want lime juice to do. So lemon and lime bottles, no. Not right, Pip? Hey, where are you? Hello? What you doing? Not for you. No. Right. So just mix it together. This doesn't want to be a water icing that you would set on like a bun or a cake or anything. This is just to let it drizzle. Okay? And what I'm going to do is take a fork and just put a few holes in the top. And that'll allow some of the glaze, you know, like a lemon drizzle cake. It'll drop in. But you need to let them cool down a little bit to do that, otherwise they'll just break if they're too warm. Okay, so just a simple little glaze. Let it drizzle over the tray. It doesn't matter because you're not going to be serving the tray, you're going to be serving the muffin, and you want them to have a really good tart, sweet hit when they eat them. And then you get again that same sort of burst of tart fruit when you hit the cherries inside, and then we've got the pumpkin seeds for a bit of crunch. So it is all round full of flavours, textures and deliciousness. And that is how you make my delicious sour cherry, lime, orange and pumpkin seed muffins. I'll see you on the next episode.